Each and every person has inborn God-given powers. We can change our lives by learning to use these powers consciously and intentionally. The way we use or misuse these powers shapes our reality. Connect with your higher self. Connect with the divine.
of Chicago South spiritual community, thanks everyone watching today's celebration. We appreciate your support. Your financial support helps us sustain and grow this Beyond Walls ministry. UCS accepts your financial support online or by mail. You may use the Cash App, Unity Chicago South. You may select Unity of Chicago South from the Give Lifey app found on our website, www.unityocs.org. You can also mail donations to Unity of Chicago South. The mailing address is 1448 East 52nd Street Suite 132 Chicago, Illinois 60615. Continue watching this online space, donate your support and spread the word that Unity of Chicago South is Beyond Walls online. Health and wellness to each and every one of you.
Well, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Unity of Chicago South. Reverend R. Ken Turner here with you today. I hope our audio is good. Hope everything is working fine. You're watching our online, we call it Ministry Beyond Walls. Ministry Beyond Walls. And the reason for that is that we are an official online ministry. This is how we bring you our message. I want to say this is a very, very challenging time. I'm sure many of you will agree that, that is the case, that this is a very, very challenging time. There's so much going on, but it's a very, very exciting time. So I don't want to downplay it and make it seem like it's a drag. It's not a drag. It's an exciting time. But the thing about it is, where do you fit in? And, I've come up with a piece called Get In Where You Fit In. That's my little motto, so to speak. That's my mantra, so to speak. Get in where you fit in. And the reason for that is that this movement that we're seeing all around the world is encompassing people of all ages, all ethnic groups, all nations, various nations. I mean, it's just a tremendous movement. And that movement is different than anything that, that many of us have seen in our lifetime. Okay. In our lifetime. And I want to thank the producer for telling me that we have it pretty much together this morning. That's great. So how do you work it? The movement seems to be led by young folk that are just saying, enough, and we're not going to wait any longer. And then there are, folks that have been in the movement before, and they need to find their place in the movement. And I'm not here to say who has what place. I'm just saying we all want to fit in. It's that type of time. It's that time. It's really what one might call a race consciousness of change time. And it's enveloping all ages. And so you do have to look and see and find, where do you fit in? And wherever that is, you get in. If you're a marcher, if you're a mask maker, if you're a songwriter, if you're a bailer out of jail, or if you're a food preparer, wherever it is you fit in, this is the time to be a part of the change that is moving through the world, not just this country. And I say a challenge, I want to discuss just a few of the challenges, the personal challenges, and I'm sure that other New Thought ministers find a similar challenge. What do we do? our focus is how to make you as an individual, how to help you see and feel your total fullness and potential. And that mission doesn't change. We don't move from now, okay, we're not worried about the individual anymore, but how do we fit in? How do we encompass more than just the individual? I mean, there was a time that if you're healed, then you can heal others, and that's still there, but it seems like this time calls for something a little bit more. And sometimes it's a struggle to find out what is that little bit more. How do we make that little bit more work? You can be African American, you can be white, you can be any race. You can be brown, yellow, you can be whatever race there is. But there's a desire, it seems, during this period to find a way to fit in. So all of you that may be struggling with where do I fit in, I understand. But I do know that if you do practice connecting with your higher self, you will be led, you will be guided to how and where you can fit in. This is not a time to sit back on the sidelines. I mean, the folks that are out there marching are letting us know that your pandemic cannot stop this change. It cannot be stopped. So there's an inner drive when you see them to say, how, what, how, And I say that your practice of connecting with your higher self is one of the ways that you can find where you fit in and how you fit in. Now today we were talking about this, the imagination and finding a treasure of great wealth and so forth. We want to stay in that, but we also cannot deny, and that's where the challenge comes in. We cannot deny what's going on. Now, the choices are you can try to find a Bible story, which is the Protestant way to find a Bible story and make it relevant to the day and da-da-da-da-da. And, that kind of grabbed hold of me and said, yeah. And then it's like, but that's not where you're at. So what do you do? And you go back and forth, or I go back and forth, and I wrestle, and I say, okay, I'm going to do what I just shared with you. I'm going to connect with my higher self and be guided and know that it's already done, and I'm connecting with the doneness. I'm connecting with what already has been done. And it depends on how open I am and how receptive I am and how willing I am, that dictates how that already doneness comes out through me. With that said, we do have a new person to give us an affirmation of truth. It says meditation. When you see it, it will say meditation, but it's really an affirmation of truth. She's going to guide us through it. Her name is Bonnie Thompson Ford. We're so excited. She's been part of Unity of Chicago South from the earliest days. And I'm excited to have her contribute her wonderful affirmation, meditation, guided meditation with you today. So I'm going to step away. I'm going to bring Bonnie to you, and I'll be right back afterwards.
As we sit and make ourselves comfortable, let us close our eyes and begin to take 3 deep breaths, feeling comfortable, taking 3 deep breaths. Feeling good, feeling light, feeling comfortable. How precious the feeling of breathing in and allowing the spirit energy of Mother Earth, the universe, our galaxy, and the oneness of our powerful God essence from which we are created. Let it touch our soul. So relaxed in our mind that we can continue to naturally breathe, relaxing and allowing the flow of love, light, and creation. Let it move throughout our bodies. And let us bask in the God oneness. Let it enter into the center of our being. Bringing about multi-dimensional thought that helps us to understand the connectivity to God. Begin to know who you really are. Feel the connectivity. Feel it. Feel it being immersed in the wonderment of spirit. Feel the love, the power of who you really are. Continue to breathe in. Allow the light, the love, the wisdom to become integrated as you move your life forward. Breathe in. Breathe out. We now will slowly begin to know more, to feel more, to see more, to strengthen ourselves more. Open your eyes slowly and give gratitude to the journey of oneness that will never leave you. And so it is.
Okay, let's do the 3 and then it's 4. Okay, hope you enjoyed that wonderful guided meditation from Bonnie. I know that it was in and out. Some of you that were watching on YouTube, I saw that the stream was weak and then it was strong, then it was weak and then it was strong. We are looking at a new service starting next week. We'll see how that works. What we're dealing with right now is what I called earlier a race consciousness of change. It's an awakened consciousness, and it's a consciousness that's really awakening to who and what we are, not just as black people or African Americans. It's waking to who we are as human beings and how we should be treated, how we choose, not how we should be, but how we choose to be treated in society, the society that we create. So it's an awakening of the fact that we are the society that we create. We are the ones that control the society, and we're beginning to understand that and show that, and that's what you see with the marchers and the protesters. And as we continue to awaken, we continue to seek change, but that change comes from what we imagine, how we think it should be. That's that imagination, how we think it should be. And from that, how we think it should be, there is a reimagining of how it is to move it to how it should be. It's happening right in front of our eyes. It's happening all around the world. It's happening right now. People are imagining and reimagining, imagining what it can be, and reimagining, doing the work necessary to move that vision into reality. And it's not new. It's not new. It's not new at all. But what we see now is that we see these protesters, we see these marchers, that they're committed to a reality of change, not later on, but right now. Right now. And we get back to that point I made earlier. This is a time to find a way to get in where you fit in. To get in where you fit in. There was a march some 57 years ago. Some of you may remember it. Some of you may have read about it. There may even be some that participated in it, which kind of gets to the point that we're saying that we have to find a way now to get in where we fit in, because there's so many different age and social groups that are involved in this, that you may not be able to do a particular thing, but there is something that you can do, and whatever you can do, you contribute to this consciousness of change. But about this march, we've heard the speech is called the March on Washington, and it's called the I Have a Dream speech, and it's a beautiful speech, and it's quoted, and it's not quoted as much as one might think during this particular time. It's like there's a new consciousness about this is what we're talking about. But I wanted to go back to a particular phrase in there, a particular passage in there, and it says, with this faith, we'll be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. Now that's I Have a Dream speech 57 years ago. And what we're seeing now is that imagination, that dream, that idea is now coming into reality. There is this togetherness that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King talked about in that speech. He said that it was important that he has the faith that this will happen. And that tells us what we have to do with imagination so that we can reimagine what it is we want. And it's done with faith. You say, well, I don't understand. Well, with faith, we don't ask, like, how's that going to be done? Is it possible for it to be done? Can we organize the police? Can it be can we take the funding, defund them? You don't ask that. You deal with whatever vision that you can create in that imagination, and then you begin to allow it to come forth in your life. You don't concern yourself with the end in this case. You concern yourself with the beginning, getting this started. You say, well, see, 57 years ago, this dream got this movement started. Now, there are so many things that happened in between those 57 years and today. So many things that are happening. We might, touch on a few of them. But there were so many things that happened, but we have to understand that that was a vision called a dream speech, a vision at one time 57 years ago, and now we see that vision, that dream coming into reality, and you see it coming into reality with such a vim and vigor that it's hard to see how it will not become a reality all over the world. How it will not become the norm. It's hard to envision, this can't be real, it can't happen. But the truth of the matter is, it was planted a long time ago, and that has just permeated into the consciousness of not only this country, but in the world. And because it was there, when the time came, it could come forward. It works the same way in our life. But now, that was a dream speech, and we have to understand that imagination is really more than a dream. It does need that faith, as I mentioned before, it needs the faith to work. But we're witness to a consciousness of togetherness that was a part of a dream and moved that dream into a movement. Yes. Then moved the dream into a movement. Now we say again that was a long time ago, and I don't know about all that. But you see, when we talk about a divine presence, something you may call God, there is no time in that concept. There is no time in that concept. So the idea of equality, the idea of freedom, the idea of fairness has been there, waiting, looking for a way to express. And now is that time, it seems. Now is that consciousness of change converging with the ideas of change. The consciousness, I am ready, that's the consciousness, I'm ready to change. That's a statement that's used in the master program, in the mastermind program. Well, that consciousness of being ready to change is what we are seeing right now before our eyes. The consciousness of being ready to change and the ideas that have been planted as long as 57 years ago of seeing people working together for the change that we all expect to happen. And it's the same with us. It's no different. The laws, the principles work in the universe, and they work in the universe. Okay? So if we can imagine and then reimagine whatever our circumstance is, not tied into, not locked into how it will not happen, what all the obstacles are, what all the challenges are, if we understand that and deal with my reimagining is based on how it will be, the rewards of change, the rewards of the possibilities becoming a reality. You say, well, how is that different? How is that different? That's saying that there will be obstacles, there will be challenges along the way. 57 years of obstacles and challenges. 55 years of obstacles and challenges. You see, there was the Civil Rights Act signed, and then there was the Voting Rights Act signed, and still there were challenges and challenges and challenges and challenges, and you had different administrations come in to try to take it away. Challenges and challenges and obstacles till finally this consciousness of change was strong enough and big enough to allow the idea of change to converge with it to create change. You see, there was that group that said, I'm not going to deal with the problems and the obstacles of this happening. I'm not going to deal with that. I'm going to deal with one thing. This has got to happen. This must happen. It must happen. And I'll fill in the blanks later on how and where, but it must happen. Can we do that in our lives? The change that we want must happen. Can we create in our lives a change, a consciousness of change, receptive to the ideas necessary to move us to wherever we want to be? When we look again at this movement, remember 57, 55 years. Longer than some of us have been alive. But it's taken as long as it takes to get to where it got to. What does that mean? It's taken as long as it takes for the idea to find fertile ground, consciousness, to come forth. That's the movement. But that movement is really a macrocosm of what we can do as individuals, how we can tie that in as individuals. What do we have to do? We have to imagine where we want to be, what we want. And then we have to reimagine whatever's there. Well, there's the police, and that's what they do, and I'm going to reimagine their role, and if I have to, I'll eliminate their role until we can recreate a role that fits in to the dynamics of my mind, my heart, my life right now. So whatever the obstacle is, yeah, it's an obstacle, it's out there, it's no doubt about it. But can I understand by reimagining how it could be? You could not have your knee on my neck. That's where I start from. Now, how does that happen? How does that work? How does that evolve? Well, I'm in the consciousness of change, so I know that the how and all of that will come I just need to reimagine. I need to see it differently. I need to hold on to whatever different idea I have and not focus on, well, it can't be done because of this and it can't be done because of the obstacles. I want to go back even a little bit further. About 1920 years ago, the scripture Matthew was written, and in Matthew we have the scripture that says that a person, I don't want to say a person, it says he, but a person finds a treasure in the field, and that person gives everything up to buy that field. And once that field is in their possession, they are then wealthy in a way that they can loan out to others. And that's what's happening right now today. These people that are leading this protest have found that field, have found that imagination that says it can be done, it can be changed. It can be done, it can be changed. Now, that's scripture over almost 2,000 years ago. Say, wow, there's Bible here. Yeah. But then I want to bring you a little bit closer as we come to a close on this imagination, this great wealth that we have. And I want to bring you to about 2013, right around there. In 2013, there were 3 ladies who said enough is enough. They were motivated by the Trayvon Martin case and the George Zimmerman going free. They started something called Black Lives Matter in 2013. Do you think, I'm not saying they did or didn't, I haven't talked to them, I don't know, but I just want you to ask this question of yourself. Do you think that they believed at the time that they came up with this idea that it would be what it is today? That it would be on the tongues and lips of people all around the world? Now, they may have said, this can be great. This can be great. But do you know that there were obstacles along the way? There were people that were black saying, oh, no, black, I don't want to be Black Lives Matter. There were obstacles along the way, but they continued on their mission. They continued in spite of. Can you? Can I? Can we do that? Can we have a vision? Can we set that vision in motion and then understand that we will continue through whatever comes up and not focus on the obstacles, not focus on the woes, knowing that they'll be there? No problem. But I have developed a consciousness of change. And I'm open and receptive to divine ideas to move me along through the completion of the travel of the journey through the consciousness of change. Will I be like the 3 ladies that created Black Lives Matter? Or will I stop and say, it's just too hard? Will I find that I have this treasure within me and give up everything like this movement, like these youth have done? They say, I'm giving up everything. I'm giving up safety. I'm giving up worrying about a pandemic. I've had enough. I am giving it all up because change must come now. Am I willing to do such? Give it all up for what I believe, for what I imagine, for what I'm willing to reimagine my life to be. Wow. We can. We can see that it works. As they say, Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman would say, it works if you work it. So if you're willing to do these things, then you can expect an outcome in line with the idea that has met the convergence of the idea and the consciousness. Now, what are some of the pitfalls? You say, you said don't worry about the obstacles. This is not an obstacle, it's a pitfall. If you actually believe you have a consciousness of change and you don't have a consciousness of change, it's not going to work out very well for you. So you cannot fool yourself. You have to work on developing a willingness, the Mastermind program. I am willing to change. Whatever it is in your life, I am willing to change. I'm willing to give all that I have. What does that mean, give all that I have? In other words, all the habits that I have, all the desires that I have that I know will not enhance my life in the vision that I have for my life, I'm willing to let them go. See, I'm willing to change. And when that willingness to change is real and sincere, the ideas necessary to propel one forward into bringing forth that image, that re-imaging into a reality, find the consciousness. It may be 1920 years. It may be 57 years. It may be 3 years. Time is not the issue. It's the consciousness, and it's developing that consciousness, and then understanding and accepting the fact that the idea that I need will come and find me. It will find me. So, what do we do this week? As we look and we see the folks doing what they're doing out there, the marching going on, the protesting going on, the police acting up. What do we do? If we're wise, we will continue to connect with our higher self to find that direction that we need. And in connecting with our higher self, we are creating the consciousness that we need to have for change. We'll start there. We won't be angry alone. We won't be PO'd alone. We won't cheer for the failure of those that we feel are against us alone. We can do all of that, but the focus should be, and when it is, on I'm willing to change. Everything else will take care of itself. So that's the challenge for the week. Develop a consciousness, work on the consciousness, ask yourself if your consciousness, if you are really willing to change. And if you're not, I don't know if it's fair for you to expect change to happen in your life if you're not willing to make the change. So if there's, seems to be some stubbornness and moving to a new place, check your consciousness out. What do you really think? What do you really feel? What do you really believe? Those are the things that affect that. Those are the things that can create fertile ground. It is time for us to move on to our next phase. I'm so happy that you're here today. We are having an after talk. Those of you that received the email know a little bit about it. I'm going to put up the contact information. Those of you that would like, come on over. We're using free conference call. I want to explain why we're using free conference call. We're using it because the limitations are minimal. Sometimes you do have to do a download on app download in order to get in on the video part of the conversation. But if you just want to be in on the phone part of the conversation to call in, you can just call in. As I said, the limitations are minimal. And with the new phase that we're going into at Unity of Chicago South, we want to have something that has the flexibility to accommodate all the things that we anticipate doing. So with that said, again, the information will come up. You have seen the information about supporting the ministry. I don't want you to think because this is an online ministry that there are no costs involved in it. There are. And those of you that have supported us in the past and that continue to support us, I want to just reach out to you and say a big thank you, thank you, thank you. You allow this to happen. You make this happen. Those of you that have been thinking about how can I help this ministry, tell other people about it, spread the word. When you get an email about the Sunday celebration, share it with your social group, with the social media groups that you are participating in. Those are ways that you can promote and help this ministry, assist this ministry in non-monetary ways. So there is a way. Get in where you fit in. You know what I mean? Get in where you fit in. So with that said, I thank you so much for coming out today. I'm going to get that information on the screen where you can join us in about 5 minutes. The conference call will be up and ready to go. We'll be online and chatting with all of those that wish to chat. You have been visiting with Unity of Chicago South, a spiritual community beyond walls. I am Reverend R. Ken Turner. I want to thank Ms. Bonnie for her wonderful guided meditation. A shout out to Reverend Nick and Reverend Stephanie for the work that they do. We have more folks coming on with meditations, and we continue to look and seek other ways to expand our presentation to you. Thank you so very, very much, and we'll see you in a few. Blessings and bliss and health and wellness to each and every one.
Use our free conference call link, and join Reverend R. Ken's video chat, or dial in and join the conversation.